Alright, so good afternoon everyone. Today we will continue discussing the lesson planning. Alright, as we discussed yesterday, we have the lesson planning. Let's just have a quick recap recording on how or what a little background of a lesson plan. So as you can see on the screen, so lesson plan is the instructor's roadmap of what students need to learn and how it will be done effectively during the class time. So as you can see, roadmap si lesson plan natin. So siya ang magiging guide all throughout our discussion. So we have three key components of a successful lesson plan. The first one is the learning objectives. Second is the learning activities. Third is the assessment of to check for student understanding. Now, we already tackled, or let's just say, nakapaloob pa rin po tayo sa before the class procedure. Right, hindi pa natin na-tackle si during the class and after the class. Alright, so first we have to identify the learning objectives. And of course, we already tackled the cognitive domain, the first domain inside the objectives. And syempre, dapat yung ating objective, it should be SMART. Or ating discussion, it should be SMART. Alright. So, what is objective? Objective is defined as someone or something that is real or not imagined. So, you have to execute your own objective because when you already plan and when your plan is already have an objective without an execution is just an imagination. So, dapat po hindi drawing ang ating objective. Kailangan i-execute. So, sa pamamagitan ng execution, yun na po yung discussion proper in order to relay the knowledge sa mga bata. An instructional objective is the focal point of a lesson plan. Of course, when we talk about focal, it is the center of the na interesado ng isang subject. Okay? So, center ng interest. And of course, lastly, objectives are the foundation upon which you can build lesson and assessments and instruction that you can prove meet your overall course or lesson goals. So, we already tackled the cognitive domain. Cognitive domain is also known as thinking. Now, we will proceed to affective domain, which is feelings, and the psychomotor domain, which is the doing. Alright. Alright, so the affective domain, when we talk about affective domain, it involves our feelings, emotions, and attitudes. And it includes the manner in which we deal with things emotionally, with feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivations, and attitudes. So, yan lahat po yung feelings ng isang estudyante, lahat ng attitudes ng isang estudyante, motivation, and of course, the appreciation is kasama po siya kay affective domain. As you can see on the screen, we have sa left po sa image, merong brain, diba? So, that is the cognitive. And the heart is the affective domain. As you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, we have the pyramid under the affective domain. So, the first one is receiving. Alright. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, we have the first one is the receiving. So when we talk about receiving, it is to differentiate, to appreciate, to listen for, and to responding to. So when we talk about receiving, it involves passively paying attention and being aware of the existence of the certain ideas. So it is the paying of attention. Kung baga, ang teacher nagsasalita and ang mga bata is they already have your attention. Of course, it is already the receiving. So when you discuss something in the lesson plan, in your lesson, kahit yung tipong simple lang, alright? Simple lang na pag-discuss, they already listen, and of course, the receiving is already occur. Alright, next, we have the responding. Next, we have the responding. Alright, when we talk about responding, it is the actively participating in the learning process. So the learners are not only aware of the stimulus, but reacting to it some way. So, diba, ang first step natin is the receiving. They listen. So, when they listen, they already receive the knowledge. Now, when they already receive the knowledge, they already respond. Especially that you ask a certain question for that certain lesson. Right? For example, nagsabi ka, or ang discussion mo is all about noun. So, noun is a place, a name of a place, a name of a person, things, etc. Alright. So, they already receive the information, the knowledge. Now, nagtanong ka. You already asked. So, what is again the noun? Of course, diba, tataas yung kamay nila. Ma'am, ako po. A noun is a name of a place, name of a person, things, and etc. So, that is already responding. And the responding is to comply with, to follow, to commend, to volunteer, to spend leisure time, and to acclaim. So, it is the actively participating in the learning process. Now, after the responding, we have the valuing. So, in valuing, to ability to see the value or worth of something to express it. So, when we talk about valuing from the word itself, value, ano yung nakukuhang importance sa lesson mo, sa discussion mo. Alright? So, it is all about what is the attitude na maa-acquire sa certain lesson mo, sa certain discussion mo. Okay? Nagkakaintindihan po? Alright. Now, let's move on naman po kay organization. When we talk about organization, it is putting together different values, information in the certain lesson or the ideas, then relating them to already held beliefs to create your own unique system. Example, spending time more studying than spending more time studying than playing sports. So, it is, when we talk about organization, to organize. Okay, dapat i-organize. Siyempre, dapat naman talaga naka-organize not only sa teacher, but also sa ideas ng mga bata. Na tipong nakuha nila bago yung organization is the valuing, di ba? Na-value na nila yung lesson. Na-appreciate na nila yung lesson, then they will organize. Okay. So, kailangan ko pala talaga mag-aral ng mabuti, hindi lang dahil kay novice learner ako, hindi lang tipong expert learner ako, it's because para mas matutunan ko palalo ang discussion ni ma'am. Alright? So, now, the last one is the characterization by value set. Okay, when we talk about the characterization of value set, it is the highest affective domain. It is all about internalizing your values or the values that you have discussed. So you internalize your values and let them control or guide your behavior. It is the guidance of the behavior because characterization is the highest of all the affective domain. Okay. So may mga certain topics, So may mga certain subjects po si receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. Okay, take down note. Okay? Sa English po, pasok po si receiving, responding, at saka si organization. And of course, the valuing. Pagdating naman po sa math, solving of math, of course, the receiving and the responding, and the organization. Mother tongue, characterization by value set. Yan po si mother tongue. Si araling panlipunan naman po, it's valuing, responding, and receiving. Pagdating naman po kay science, receiving, responding, valuing, organization. And of course, the characterization by value set. Okay, yun po yung mga certain na mga subjects na nai-involve doon si affective domain. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, you may take a while, pause this video, or you may take a screenshot. That is the verbs that you can use under affective domain. Right? We have the receiving, responding, valuing, organization, and characterization. So, yan po yung mga verbs na pwede ninyong gamitin sa paggawa ng objectives under affective domain. Now, may question po ako, ma'am. Okay. What if, ma'am, dalawa, kasi merong certain na mga verbs na nandito ngayon kay affective na present naman po kay cognitive, kagaya ng choose, kagaya ng explain, 'di ba? Si explain at saka si choose, meron din si cognitive, meron naman po si saan dito? Identify, meron present pa rin po siya kay cognitive. How about that, ma'am? Pwede po bang dalawa? Ang ma'am, pwede identify, cognitive, then pagdating kay affective domain, identify ulit. For example, sa cognitive ko, ma'am, identify the noun. Pagdating sa affective, ma'am, identify the noun. Hindi po pwede yun. You have to choose. Kaya nga po, nilagyan ng justification na maraming verbs ang pwedeng pagpipilian. Para hindi po pare-pareho ang inyong objectives. Tapos sasabihin nyo, iba man kasi yung una, ma'am, yan yung cognitive. Yung pangalawa niyan, ma'am, affective. Hindi po pwede yun. So, kunyari, nagamit nyo na si identify sa cognitive, malamang, gagawa ka ng iba pang or gagamit ka ng ibang verbs na naka-inline pa rin sa lesson mo na naka-inline kay affective domain. Okay? Kagaya nito. Alright. As you can see, at the end of the discussion, the student must be able to, letter A, understand the noun. That is under cognitive. So, hindi na natin gagamitin si understand. So, letter B, observe what is noun in the sentence. That is psychomotor. Now, ma'am, si psychomotor ma'am, pwede man din dito sa choose a noun and create. Pwede din po siya, pero inano ko siya as affective. So, magkaibang verb ang dalawa. Okay? As you can see on the screen, hanapin natin si choose sa affective domain. Receiving po siya. Okay? Choose sa receiving. How about, ma'am, sa pangalawa, create a sentence. So, pasok siya kay, saan dito si create? Nawala si create. Ay, nawal. Ay, nagkabaliktad. Sorry. So, sorry Si observe pala, nagkamali. Sorry. Nano ko pala siya. So, ito pala si affective. Affective, and then this one is psychomotor. Alright. Okay, so that is the correct one. So, under the cognitive is to understand the noun, then under the affective is observe what is in the sentence, what is noun in the sentence, then letter C, choose a noun and create a sentence. So that is under the psychomotor. Okay, you may take a screenshot on our verbs na magagamit natin kay affective domain. 1, 2, 3, screenshot. 3, 2, 1, screenshot. Okay. Alright, so now let's proceed to psychomotor domain. So psychomotor domain, it includes the physical movement of coordination and the use of the motor skills areas. So when we talk about psychomotor, yung motor po na sinasabi dito, hindi po yan motor sa tricycle, hindi po yan motor ng sasakyan, hindi po yan motor ng kotse. It is all about the muscles of the learners. So when we talk about muscles, it includes the performance. Nagkakaintindihan po ba tayo? So let's go back. Okay, let's go back on the child and adolescent's development. Makinig the child and adolescent development. Di ba we have two ang nagde-develop sa isang bata? We have the brain, which is what we call the cephalocaudal pattern, and the proximodistal pattern, which is the muscles. So, si proximodistal pattern kasi, it involves the muscular. Diba? Muscular development. So, pasok dito po si psychomotor domain. Kasi when we talk about psychomotor domain, it is all about the muscles and the performance of every learners. Alright. So, of course, psychomotor domain develop of these skills requires practice and is measured in terms of speed, precision, distance, procedures, or technique in execution. Of course, in education, as of the moment, we are now embracing the 21st century na system ng education. And syempre, by embracing the 21st century, kasama din po doon si K-12. And we all know that under the K-12 program is the more on performance sa mga bata, 'di ba? So pasok po doon si psychomotor domain. Okay. So ito po ang na-research ko po ay kay Harlow. Hindi po kay Bloom's taxonomy. Kay Harlow ito. Pero ang gagamitin natin na verbs ay under kay Bloom's taxonomy. Pero i-explain ko pa rin po si Harlow's na taxonomy. Okay. When we talk about, we have the reflex movement, the basic fundamental movement, the perceptual, we have the physical activities, we have the skilled movements, and the non-discursive communication. Now, let's talk about the reflex movement. So, reflex movement, it is the automatic reactions. So, when we talk about automatic reactions, it is the involuntarily reactions that are elicited without learning in response to some stimuli. So, eto po yun siya, yung tipong magtatanong ka, do you still remember our topic yesterday? Di ba magtaas sila ng kamay? So, pasok po siya kay reflex movement. Okay? Involuntarily kasi yung brain ang gumagalaw doon. Alam ko ang sagot. So, magtataas ako ng kamay. Alright? So, pasok siya kay reflex movement. Now, let's talk about the basic fundamental movement. Basic fundamental movements, it is the movements that can build to more complex sets of movements. So, when we talk about basic fundamental movement, basic from the word itself, basic, ito po yung running, walking, jumping, and lahat po ng mga basic. Okay, tumbling. O, pwede din yun. Kung marunong ba kayo mag-tumbling, the basic yun para sa inyo. So, yun po, yun siya. Ang nakapasok kay fundamental movement. Especially that, sa mga subject ng mga MAPE, ng mga PE, kagaya ng sa elementary, grade 2, grade 1, grade 2. 'Di ba meron silang MAPE na subject? Tinuturo po doon si basic fundamental movements. Kung paano maglakad ng mabilis, paano maglakad ng mabagal, paano maglakad pa backward, paano maglakad pa sideward. So, last time kasi guys, kaya ko nasabing tinuturo si basic fundamental movement. Final demonstration ko kasi sa IS, Integrated School ni Fulbright, ang final ko na demo is very, very simple. Ang topic ko lang is the basic fundamental movements. So, ang nilagay ko dun sa objective ko, dun, under cognitive is, discuss what is the basic fundamental movement. Simple as that. As is, where is. And then, pagdating, nandiyan na? Nandiyan na schedule, J? Pagdating kay affective, to appreciate the basic fundamental movements and apply it on our daily life. Or nilagay ko din doon, tipong appreciate the basic fundamental movement. Then pagdating ko kay psychomotor, okay, imitate or tipong, ano nga yung sa kay psychomotor? Dito kasi, hindi. Perform. To perform the basic fundamental movements and to apply it in our daily lives. So, yun. Pasok pa rin po siya kay valuing. Pasok yung pangalawa kay valuing. So, as you can see, ganun kasimple, tinuro ko paano maglakad ng maayos, paano maglakad forward, paano maglakad backward, paano tumalo ng maayos. Ganun lang kasimple. And then, inayos ko lang siya, binigyan ko na siya ng magandang technique or in-improvise ko ang pagturo ko regarding sa ganun. Kasi simple lang talaga siya. Perfect 5 ang aking demonstration dahil lang sa simple at very smooth na presentation ko para sa mga bata. And of course, dinala ko yung mga bata sa playground mismo para malawak yung takbo-takbuhan nila, malawak yung lalakad-lakaran nila, malawak yung tatalon-talonan nila. So, very simple yet very smooth yung pagka-execute ko ng aking lesson plan and of course, my performance. Alright? So, that is the basic fundamental movements. Now, let's move on kay perceptual. The ability to take information from the environment and react. So, it is all about the interpretation of your discussion. Kasi nga, pag-deliver mo, 'di ba? You can still remember the affective. Pag-receive nila, then they respond. Of course, after responding, they try to imagine, they try to cope up with your discussion. And then the next one is the physical activities. When we talk about physical activities, pasok po dito si MAPE and PE pa rin po na subject. So, it includes the activity of the strenuous effort for long period of time, especially sa discussion mo kung may mga activities kang pinapagawa na nag-i-includes kay body or the physical activities itself. So, present po si psychomotor domain doon. Now, let's talk about the skilled movement. Ito po yung skilled movement. Ito po yung mga sports. Ito po yung swimming. Ito po yung drawing, dancing, singing. So, hindi ito basic. Ito yung mga talent, kanya-kanyang talent ng mga bata, kanya-kanyang mga skills ng mga bata. Alright, ang pinaka-highest naman is the non-discursive communication. When we talk about the non-discursive communication, it is the communication through expressive of bodily movements such as posture, gestures, and facial expressions or create a movement. So, walang words na lalabas. For example, ikaw as a teacher, nagbigay ka ng lesson, nag-discuss ka. Ngayon, may isang bata dyan na humikab. 'Di ba? Yawning. Pag nag-yawn yan sa'yo, ibig sabihin, isa lang ang ibig sabihin yan, inaantok. Pero did you know guys, that pag nagde-discuss ka or pag yung tipong may kausap ka na humikab sa harapan mo is kabastusan po yun. Ibig sabihin, hindi na siya interesado makipag-usap sa'yo kasi boring ka ng kausap. So you should be very aware of every movement ng mga bata sa harapan mo kasi ibig sabihin sa mga kilos nila, sometimes they lost interest. Alright? Another, ma'am, paano ma'am pag may nagngangat-ngat ng kuko habang nagsasalita ako? Okay, para sa akin, pag nagngangat-ngat ng kuko, ibig sabihin nakikinig yan ng masinsinan sa'yo. Kasi ganun din ako, pag once nakikinig ako sa isang discussion, pag nagngat-ngat na ako ng kuko, ibig sabihin, ina-absorb ko lahat ng pinagsasabi mo. So, yan ang isa sa technique ko para, or malaman mo na ako isang interesado sa isang tao pag nagngat-ngat na ako ng kuko. Yung tipong sa kanya lang ako nakatingin pero nagngangat-ngat ako ng kuko. Ibig sabihin, concentrate ako na nakikinig sa kanya. And that is belong under the non-discursive communication. Walang words, but more on action. Alright? So, sana naintindihan, no? Okay. Now, eto naman po, ipapakilala ko si Bloom's taxonomy under psychomotor domain. Kanina kasi kay Harlow ito, na taxonomy. Harlow, H-A-R-L-O-W, Harlow. Ito naman kay Bloom's. So, the same pa rin naman halos ang meaning nitong dalawa, which is ang imitating is to mimic the action. When we talk about mimics, gagayahin, ginaya. Manipulating naman, you give an instruction and then they do the work. Alright? When we talk about precising, it is the precision of every action. Kung ano yung ginawa mo, dapat gawin din ng mga bata. Okay, articulating. Pasok dito si English, especially sa mga words na nami-mispronounce nila. For example, Freud, okay? Sigmund Freud, 'di ba? Sometimes mga bata nagsasabing Freud. Okay. So, i-correct natin. Guys, I just heard a little confusion regarding on how we talk about Sigmund Freud, on how we pronounce Sigmund Freud. It is, again, repeat after me. It's Freud. Okay, again, Freud. Then they will imitate. Freud. So, it is part of articulating at the same time imitating. Pasok naman po si manipulating and the precising. Then, if you correct that one, mapapasok sa utak nila yon. Hindi pala ito Sigmund Freud. It's Sigmund Freud. Alright? Another. Meron pa. Kagaya, do you still remember the Chaos na poem? Diba, may mga words tayo na mispronounce and then later on, kino-correct natin. So, pasok si imitating, pasok si manipulating, si precising, and of course, the articulating. Ayos po ba tayo doon? And then, we talk about the naturalizing. Kasi in every learners, meron talagang natural lang yung talino, natural lang yung wisdom, and natural lang yung knowledge. And as a teacher, you should be very aware of that and be ready that every learner ay may kapantay ka dyan. Yan ang paghandaan mo. Alright? As you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, that is the verbs that we can use under the psychomotor domain. Under imitation, kindly read. Under manipulation, kindly read. Under precision, kindly read na lang po. And of course, articulation, kindly read. And naturalization, kindly read. You may take a screenshot for a while. You may pause this video or everything. 1, 2, 3 screenshot. 3, 2, 1 screenshot. Alright, so nagkaintindihan po ba tayo? Is there any questions? Alright, so if none, guys, ngayon, you will continue to make your objectives with the following domain. We already made your objective yesterday under cognitive domain. Now, let's proceed on affective and psychomotor. I'll give you 20 minutes to do your work and we will check. Alright? You may take a screenshot as well. Okay.